Chael, Sean O'Malley is the Bantamweight champion of the world. He has a guy that's been chasing him down, Merab Dvalishvili. Dude, finally, Sean O'Malley has agreed to the fight, but he had this to say in response to Merab's claims that he was ducking him.
Merab is fucking next. Your wish is granted. A lot of people said I'm ducking him. I just really am not ducking that little dude. I like the fight for me. There's multiple ways to win. I'm excited about the fight now, finally. I was never ducking him. I was just never excited to fight him. He's just such a, I don't know. What now is it the right time? Just like Cheeto rematch. Like the time will come to where it's the right time to fight certain people. Merab's next. And careful what you wish for, buddy.
All right, Chael. So Sean pretty much said, I was never ducking you. The timing now works out. You got your wish. But he also made a statement telling him, you better watch what you're asking for. What do you make of Sean O'Malley finally agreeing to fight Merab Dvalishvili?
And Dan, I got to tell you, I mean, this is a lot to do about nothing in this regard.
It is.
When Merab beat Henry Cejudo, Dana White that night announced that Merab was next. Now, just to enforce that, 3 weeks later is what takes us to Miami, and Dana brings in Merab, who goes and gets licensed in Florida, hits the scale, makes weight at 135 pounds, and sits in the front row. But somewhere within Merab's own mind, the fight was not official until O'Malley said
his name, until he said his name, Chael. He was disappointed that when Sean O'Malley had an opportunity to call him out, to build the fight, Sean O'Malley called out Ilia Topuria. And so Merab's like, yo, wait, the boss is saying I'm next. I'm making weight on the scale. This is a layup, but you are not willing to call my name. That leads to duck and claim. But, Chael, isn't it kind of almost, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I actually did. But doesn't that lend you to believe a little bit? Merab Dvalishvili tried to be messy. When he took his jacket back in the day, it got wheels. Sean O'Malley starts saying Ilia Topuria. Merab then, when he doesn't get called out, decides, I got to be messy again. Do you feel by Merab's approach, right? You're ducking me. You're afraid. Is why now Sean's like, you know what? Let me deal with this guy. Because you and I both know it seemed like it was always going to be this. But now he got it because he kept messing with him and messing with him and messing with him. Now he's got the champ's attention.
Well, there was something about that for Merab, right? I mean, that's my larger point. Like, this fight was already going to happen. This was already decided and already done. It could have happened that night in Miami had Cheeto missed weight the day before, just by example. But my point being to you, somewhere within Merab, he felt as though he needed O'Malley to say his name. That's not how fights are made. That's not how this game works. But now Merab can take a deep breath. Finally, Sean has told him yes. You know what? I wish that Sean had never told him yes. I would love that they're at a press conference 3 days before their fight, and O'Malley is still saying he's not going to fight him just to troll him. Don't forget, this is the guy that stole his coat.
That would have been
You can't
awesome.
go around stealing a man's coat.
Oh, Chael, that would have been awesome. That was the move. That would have been the move. At the press conference, still saying, you know what? Couldn't wait, right? Sucked out, drawn out. Yeah, I just don't know if this is the guy. I'm going into the Octagon on Saturday. I mean, maybe it'll be Merab. I don't know. You know, sell him to the point that the guy's sitting there with a look on his face confused. But I love it. I love that this fight is happening. But honestly, I'm done questioning Sean O'Malley and his intent in all situations. He's not afraid of anyone. He will compete with anyone. And he's a guy that looks like he's going to be more than willing to defend the championship against the rightful next guy. Look, he chose Cheeto. He chose Cheeto as the first title defense. When you get that from the company, next one you have to do comes from them. So I don't even know if he wanted to fight someone different, if he would have had the option to fight someone different, because they gave him Cheeto. They gave him what he asked for. Now you got to give us what we want. And that's Merab Dvalishvili. When I look at this matchup, we have seen Merab be hurt before. And very rarely do I see a guy get hurt. And it makes me question whether or not they're even more difficult to get out of there. Generally, you see a guy get hurt, you start going, oh, his chin's kind of gone. He's shorter than Sean. He's going to run into something, get hurt. But when Marlon Moraes hurt Merab, he was literally a dead man walking, and he still somehow managed to survive not only the round, but come back and dominate. I don't know what you have to do to get this man out of there. So this is a very dangerous fight for the Sugar Show. But Sean O'Malley, Chael, said, you got to be careful what you ask for. And his intent is to embarrass Merab Dvalishvili.
Yeah, when you're talking about the outcome of this fight, I mean, Sean O'Malley looked as good as any 135-pounder has ever looked since I've been following this sport, right? In his last fight with Cheeto. But when the line came out 2 days later, Merab was a 2-1 favorite, Daniel, and I think that is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, from the time they set that Octagon up for the first time in 1993, there's always been a debate. Is grappling or striking more effective? And it looked as though that was answered, that it was grappling. But I must tell you, Israel Adesanya has kind of changed that. If you go back and look at what Adesanya did and then pass that to Alex Pereira, who had no grappling background, made all the way to a world championship. And I bring that to you because Sean O'Malley and the idea that he's going to stay on his feet and outbox and avoid takedowns 10 years ago would have sounded ridiculous. But now, not only is it possible, it's even probable. I'm surprised that Merab is such a big favorite.
I'm going to ask you this question here. I'm going to go off topic a little bit. Watching Alex Pereira be the champion in 2 divisions, Chael, is that hard for a guy like you when he still can't defend any takedowns? It's like he still can't defend any takedowns. Like, I don't get how he's doing this. Like, how is he doing this? Dude, he got taken down in the last fight by Yuri Prochazka and held down the whole time. Izzy was able to take him down, control him the whole time. Is that hard for a wrestler like, well, a Bo Nickel, right, who has no reason to be in a conversation with these types of guys? But when they lack that skill, does it make you feel like, wow, man, just the right wrestler can go and become the champ?
Daniel, my son is 8 years old, and I don't know if he's going to choose this path or not, but I will lay in bed many nights trying to philosophize if I could go back and redo my career, or if my son ever comes to me and asks me to be involved as his. I always am trying to think of the best ways right now, and this changes, but for right now, I believe from a wrestling standpoint, you either need to be very good at stopping the takedown, or you need to be very good at scrambling and getting up from the bottom. But I don't believe that you need both. I believe either one of those is enough. And that's the one thing with Pereira. I don't see him as a great takedown defense guy like, say, Jose Aldo was. But if you get him down, he's very hard to keep there. And the reason I give you that analysis is you can really speed up the process of effective grappling if you're not wasting your time trying to be pretty good at a whole bunch of different things. If you really focus on one thing, for example, getting up off the bottom, you'll frustrate a lot of wrestlers. And yes, that is hard for me to admit.
And you know what's crazy? It's like he can control guys with his hands. He's under Prochazka, grabbing his wrist. And they spent a minute and a half with him just holding on to Prochazka's wrist to where Yuri couldn't even get any offense going. But in this fight, sorry to get back on topic, I had to ask you that because, dude, I'm telling you, like, if I was younger and fighting and watching guys that don't defend takedowns as effectively as champions, I'd be licking my chops because you know there's a level of wrestling they can't get to. It don't matter how long they do it. It don't matter how good they are at getting up. You're just going to throw them back down to the ground. And I feel like the right wrestler right now could present a lot of problems for those guys. But one of the things about Sean O'Malley, we've long been told that he is a phenomenal grappler and he's a great wrestler, that he can defend takedowns, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this. I don't know if he's ever been in there, or I know for a fact he's never been in there that is as tenacious and as determined to get takedowns. Because when you do what Merab did to Henry Cejudo, you are dealing with a whole different level of wrestling. And not technically, Chael. I'm saying the barrage of takedown attempts that come in your direction is very difficult to withstand. Dude, you did it to Anderson for 23 minutes and 55 seconds. Just the amount of takedowns was too much. I saw Kane do it to Junior Dos Santos, where you just take them down so much or you attempt so many, it starts to really break their will. Is that what you think Merab has to do in order to really give himself a shot against Sean O'Malley?
And you're talking about persistence. And I don't see a lot of guys that are that persistent. If you go look at the numbers of Merab, you don't watch the fight, you're just staring at a sheet. He gets a lot of takedowns, but what gets missed is how many get stuffed. You go look at George St. Pierre. Possibly the greatest offense wrestling we've seen. George didn't throw up any air balls, though. When he went for that double leg, he got you down to the mat. Merab will get stuffed at times, but it doesn't frustrate him. He'll come right on back. Let me give you another example, but that would be Covington versus Kamara. Both of them were very good wrestlers. They came out early. They felt, I'm not going to be able to take this guy down. To heck with using the energy. They stayed up and made it a kickboxing fight. Merab doesn't get frustrated. And I do think that that's possibly his greatest strength, because O'Malley is going to give him problems. O'Malley is going to sprawl. O'Malley does do a great job with the range, not even let Merab in the first place. But if Merab can stay after and push him into the fence, make it grindy, not mind the crowd, even if they're booing, and keep going for those takedowns, I think it's his greatest strength. The fact that Merab does not get frustrated and he's got the gas tank to back up those efforts, man, it's a real skill, and it's very hard for the audience to see.
48 takedown attempts in 5 rounds, Chael. Could you have whipped that out? He did it against Petr Yan. 48 attempts in 5 rounds against Petr Yan. Do you think in your prime you could have threw 48 takedowns out there?
I don't think that I would have. I really don't. I understood that the first shot was just to set up the second one, and the second shot was to succeed with the third. However, it was the most tiring part of our sport, getting that takedown. And Daniel, if I ever got on top of somebody, I needed a minute to take that breath. I needed a minute to refill some of that energy, right? If they were to scramble and get back up, the squeeze wasn't worth the juice, but I got to give it to Merab. He does not mind that. In fact, it's one of the things that he counts on. It's one of those intangibles, and that's how he weaponizes pace, brings that into it, and it even frustrated Henry Cejudo. I feel that that was the difference, not the takedown attempts.
Yep, because you saw Henry's face, man. You could see when Henry was kind of like, to hell with this. This is, I've never felt anything like this before, and I've competed at the highest level of every single sport that I've ever competed in. He's dangerous, bro. He's very dangerous, and I believe this is the best fight we can make at bantamweight right now. Look, I know Corey Sandhagen will have something to say about it. I know that Umar Nurmagomedov will have something to say about it, but this Merab Dvalishvili, with the amount of fights that he's won, and Sean O'Malley, with their rivalry, and with the fact that Merab goes at him every time he is in the same area as Sean O'Malley. That will only help to build the excitement for this fight. I'm all in. I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic.